ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Wednesday, September 10th, and your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's show. We're going to get our text line started in just a few minutes. We do that every day at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. And we're going to make it interesting today. I'll be giving you an opportunity to win tickets to go see the Herd take on EKU. That is coming up on Saturday. We've got the game. We go on the air at 3 o'clock, and you can listen to it here again on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So we got a fun show today. Let's just go ahead and say it right now. Coming up in a few minutes, we've got Jarrod Hunley. He's the Director of Marketing and Fan Engagement at Marshall University. And, of course, it's always good to have Jarrod on. He's going to get it caught up on everything happening at Marshall this week. So if you got any questions, anything I can try to get to him, go ahead and send those in now. And again, that number is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Of course, a couple of the big things that'll be going on, and that's tomorrow. Obviously, we're talking about Marshall and WVU. The Mountain State Derby on the women's side, that's tomorrow. That's going to be huge. Probably the biggest women's game that has ever happened at the Vet. The crowd should be record for the Marshall women. I'm hoping it's a record crowd anyway. And I'd like to see that crowd get close to maybe one of the records the men have set. And mostly Mountain State Derby always brings out everyone. So I'm looking for a big crowd tomorrow. Hopefully you can make it. If you need details, we're going to have those for you in just a few minutes with Jarrod. And, of course, on Saturday, we've got Marshall and EKU. And, unfortunately, EKU is struck first in this rivalry this week. I guess it is EKU week now. We can call it that. And so Marshall played EKU in volleyball. And it went to 5. And, unfortunately, the Herd lost. Very competitive, highly contested. It was tight, but EKU wins that one 3-2. That was yesterday at the Cam Henderson Center. Marshall now falls to 4-3. Still, I think a strong start. This wasn't one of those where Marshall was swept. It went down to the wire. But EKU is struck first in EKU week. And here's an idea. I would like to see if this is possible. I don't know if you can do this logistically, but if this is possible for a few of these closer opponents, I'd like to see if it would be possible to schedule some of these schools just for a week. Like, okay, we got volleyball, EKU volleyball. It's EKU week, so let's get volleyball on the schedule. Let's get soccer on the schedule. Let's do a few sports and just have EKU week. Am I the only one thinking of this? Maybe, but still, EKU week has begun. We are in the mid portion of it, and unfortunately, the Colonels strike early in this one. Hopefully, the football team will avenge the volleyball team coming up on Saturday. I was looking over the series a little bit again yesterday. Yesterday, we had Greg Stottlemyre on, and he has so many stories. He's seen this series for a long time now. And it was interesting going back, looking at this series a little bit more. There's some great memories here. EKU is one of those programs where could have won a few more national championships. It was a premier program back in the 1AA heyday. Marshall was turning into a premier program. You had Georgia Southern. And just looking at some of these contests, and it really started to flip for Marshall. It was tight back and forth in this series, but it started to flip, especially with Joan C. Edwards Stadium opening up. That definitely gave Marshall a leg up in a lot of these contests because that team in the 90s, top to bottom, start to finish, that was one of the best runs I've ever seen for Marshall and for a football program. And so it was obvious that Marshall wasn't losing too many of these games. That's why I'm really a big fan of them, especially with EKU, especially with Appalachian State, Georgia Southern. I've got an affinity for some of these schools. Some of them in the Southern Conference and some, of course, just in the day. Yeah, I know a lot of people have maybe affinity for Western Kentucky. That came a little bit later. That was more of the Sun Belt days than the Conference USA days. Got ahead of myself there. That was more of the Conference USA days. But still, there are a lot of just good memories for me, Marshall versus EKU, and I'm hoping that we get a few more of those coming up on Saturday. It would be nice to see Coach Gibson get his first win finally, get that off his back, and then just move ahead, and then get that second win on the road against Middle Tennessee, and then go into conference play with a little bit of momentum and maybe a little bit more of an identity, because right now there's an identity crisis at quarterback. You don't know who's going to be ultimately the guy. It's still up in the air at this moment. We're week 3 into this situation, and you have 3 quarterbacks. So if you have 3 quarterbacks, you don't have one. And I'd like to see one of the 3 step up or take the job. That's what one of them needs to do. And, of course, didn't get a chance, obviously, in the game to see any of the other 2. But if it's you got to win practice, then take over. But I would like to see, at least in this situation, more of the quarterback play from the other 2. Maybe we'll get all 3. That would be, if the game dictates and allows, that would be great, just to give these guys a little bit more of an opportunity. But we still won't know. This is not the game that we're going to find out and know. If Marshall is in a tight battle, then we've got questions. If Marshall wins this one maybe easily, we still have questions, but not the questions that we'd ask after a tight win or a loss to a school like EKU. So still a lot going on with the next couple of weeks trying to figure out what the identity of this team is. But to be fair, we're only 3 weeks in. This is the 3rd week for Tony Gibson and his squad. Plenty of time to get it right. When we continue, we're going to turn our attention to what's happening at Marshall University. I've got with us Jarrod Hunley. He's the Director of Marketing and Fan Engagement at Marshall University. He'll get us caught up on everything you need to know. Big matches coming up this week. Obviously, Thursday, Mountain State Derby, Marshall, West Virginia. Saturday, football, Marshall, EKU. We'll talk more about that when we continue on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year for March basketball. Frank's has you covered from the Sun Belt to the SEC, NBA to the MLB. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home. home.
Cardinal Chevrolet says goodbye summer and hello deals. Silverados, 2.9% financing for 72 months or save, and this is no joke, up to $30,000 off MSRP. That's incredible. All EV models come with 0% financing for 60 months, plus up to 125% of KBB value for your trade. New ownership, improved processes, better deals. Visit our gorgeous facility right off I-64 in Hurricane or at CardinalChevy.com. Together, let's drive. See dealer for details.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40% and help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, Ray Crabtree, 304-736-8181. In Milton, Russ McRae, 304-743-9318. And in Lavallette, Jason Elkins, 304-529-7555.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Finish up projects with GE-branded silicone sealants. Tub and tile silicone is 100% waterproof and offers same-day water readiness, making it perfect to use in kitchens and bathrooms. Shop our selection of GE sealants in-store and on Menards.com and save big. Plus, check out the weekly flyer to view all of our other great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
I pick up litter at the neighborhood park.
I volunteer at my local food bank.
I help build homes in my community.
No matter where you are in West Virginia, there's always a chance to be kind. That's because every Mountaineer is a volunteer. Help us make a difference during the National Day of Service on September 11th. Visit volunteer.wv.gov to find an opportunity near you. Brought to you by Volunteer West Virginia, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Hey, is that a faucet running?
Nope, that's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest.
It is?
Yeah, forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. The water comes straight from the forest to us. In fact...
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
How do trees clean the air?
They soak up the dirty air on their leaves, branches, and trunks, which means clean air for us.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yep, but the forest does more than give us clean air and water. It gives us shade for hot days, birds to listen to, and trees to climb.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know how cool the forest could be. Hey, let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Wednesday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It is Eastern Kentucky week, also the week of hate for me. You know, I failed to mention, yesterday volleyball fell to Eastern Kentucky 3-2, and then Eastern Kentucky also won the Joe Fagans Marshall Men's Golf Invitational played earlier this week at Guyan Golf and Country Club. So this is the week of hate for me for EKU, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment with our next guest, the Director of Marketing and Fan Engagement at Marshall University, Jarrod Hunley. Jarrod, I don't know what your affinity is for EKU. I go back a little bit further than you, but I love to hate these guys. So I'm hoping that we have a big crowd on Saturday of Herd fans loving to hate these guys as well.
You know, I'm more looking forward to everybody getting out cheering on the Herd more so than the other bit of it. But, no, obviously Eastern Kentucky, really good history with them, and excited to have them in town for the weekend, and, you know, ready to see the Herd faithful come out and support the team.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. I think you can do both. You can cheer the Herd on and you can hate EKU at the same time. But it's a great rivalry. We'll get to that in a second. Jarrod's with us today because you've had a busy week. And I'm sure we can say that every week you've got a busy week. But, wow, tomorrow you're ready for this, right? You got the women's version of the Mountain State Derby, Marshall taking on WVU. I mean, you got this, right? You've done this before. This is going to be no problem. Capacity crowd, easy. No problems whatsoever.
Oh yeah, we always stay busy over here in athletics, and having the old derby back on the women's side, very exciting. It's first time since I think 2011 that we've played, and then I think first time at home since 1999. So, excited to have WVU back in the mix for our women's soccer program, and obviously excited to see the vet packed out like we normally see it. And, just getting ready to get that game going. Like I said, it's always busy, but we got it taken care of.
What do fans need to know? Now, I know there'll be some seasoned pros at this point coming to some of these events. New fans that maybe haven't been in such a capacity crowd at the vet before. What do they need to know? What are they going to see, and how do they need to handle it?
Yeah, so I always say, get your stuff early as you can. I know there's always those ones that'll come for the walk-ups, but I always recommend just getting your stuff early, getting in the gates as early as possible. Parking situation, always parking at that Kroger lot down there on 5th, and then just downloading our Herd Zone app so that you have your tickets ready, handy to go through the scanners and get inside the gates. Obviously the Safe to Stay initiative that we got with the clear bag policy, no reentry, all that stuff. Just be ready to get there early and cheer on the Herd, man.
This should be a fun one tomorrow. So everything should be pretty much standard for anyone who's gone to a men's or women's game. Just get there a little earlier for the crowd as we've got the Mountain State Derby. So that's probably the biggest piece of advice for everyone involved tomorrow. Of course, then we've got football on Saturday, and it's game number 2. How happy were you with last week? I know game number 1, fans back at the Joan, a lot of new initiatives, so I'm sure there are some things that maybe Herd fans missed, especially in the concourses, especially with the food trucks and everything that you're trying to do this year. So if you would just maybe reintroduce Herd fans to what the experience is going to be for game 2 if they miss something.
Yeah, obviously not the result we wanted, but I think from our standpoint, we had a really good game. It's always great to see. I think we had over 28,000 fans in the Joan, and when you see a place like the Joan packed out like that, and how loud it can get in there, man, it's really exciting to see. But from our end, we have those things. We've got the Thunder Walk. We have our Fan Fest that's out there at the rec field now because we partnered kind of with the rec center. So we're out there on the field this year. We'll have some entertainers come throughout the season that'll kind of set up out there and, either play a concert. We might have some magic. We might have some comedians. We'll have some entertainers out there at Fan Fest. So once you get done with the Thunder Walk, you can always head over to the rec center and get over there with our Fan Fest, our inflatables, all the stuff we got going on over there. But from our end, obviously, we're looking to improve, the fan experience always. So we've, taken in surveys from that first game, and we're just going to improve and make our experience better for our fans, whatever that may be, right? So we'll always listen to our fans and try to give them the best game day experience possible.
What are you most excited about with some of the maybe the things that you got feedback-wise from week 1?
Yeah, so a lot of positive from our student base. So looking at like the post-game surveys, our students were very happy with everything that was going on, right? So that was a very big positive for us. Obviously there's some things that kind of get out of your control. So like we'll fix the video board issue, right? And then we can easily tweak where we're at level-wise to make fans happy that are coming to their first game, if not, our regular fan base that attends as well, right? So we take those surveys seriously. That's why we've kind of put them out this year so we can get that feedback. And like I said, just improve on what we got and just make everything better for the fans as they come to the Joan.
As a curiosity for those that maybe don't know, what was it that was different this year for the students, or what are you trying to do to help them? Well, not necessarily help them, but encourage them to kind of come to a football game and be a part of it.
Yeah, our student base is huge, so we've really kind of revamped the student groups of the Stampede. So we've, kind of put a board in place where we've got a president, vice president, treasurer, all that stuff, right? So we've kind of revamped that to get them more involved so that we have a board of students who are directly involved with the Stampede, and just getting students excited to come out to the games again. You know, we've got Thunder Sticks kind of making their way back into the Joan, right? So we'll have more of those coming out. Really, just anytime we get those students in the Joan, man, it makes such a difference, right? If you have them just behind you, I was so, pleased with the first game, seeing all the students come and how long they stayed throughout the game, right? I think, in past years we've had that where, you might see second half roll around, but you're not too happy with it. But everybody, really stayed out and showed out this game, and we really appreciate that.
Joining us on the program, he is, I would say, the title doesn't suit you. You need more added to it. Director of Marketing and Fan Engagement, Jarrod Hunley. You need a longer title like Ryan Crisp has, because you do everything. I mean, you're all over the place. I see you everywhere. I mean, you don't see me sometimes, but I see you everywhere.
It's a lot of steps in the day. If you look at my health app, it gets a little high up in the step count.
Absolutely. And Jarrod, of course, is getting us ready for this week's action, not only at the Vet, but also at the Joan. So the students are coming back, thankfully, and I'm glad that they're getting involved. What are some of the things, maybe concession-wise, the initiatives that are going on that you might need to remind Herd fans or point out that maybe they missed week one and you want to make sure that they don't?
Yeah, so kind of goes along with, I always recommend coming in early. That gives you, the best chance to get in, see everything, not miss kick, right, all that stuff. But we have that $2 blitz that we do for the first hour of gates open because they open 2 hours prior, right? So you have, if it's a 6 o'clock kick, we'll have a 4 o'clock gates open. So for that first hour of gates being open, we got that $2 blitz where you can get $2 drinks, $2 dogs, and then I think another item as well. So just to remind fans, is if you're getting there early, we're trying to kind of reward that and let you get in and get stuff cheap, and then, enjoy the game as it comes.
What's been the feedback that maybe from year one that you kind of put into place for year two to kind of help fans move along or help them get through this process with the entry points being what they are now?
Yeah, so really just the communication from our end. We partner really heavily with like CSC. Our CSC staff is really great, and anything that comes along with them, we'll take and discuss, and really just trying to make that entry as easy as possible for our fans. So whether we're opening up more gates, making the scanner lines easier, making the checkpoints easier, right? Whatever we can do to make that process easier, we're obviously going to try and do. So we just take the feedback as it comes, and just kind of always continually develop, man. I think that's a big part of athletics is you're always going to have to adapt. So we just continue to do that the best that we can. And like I said, I've probably said it a few times now, but just try to make that game day experience, as easy and as best as we can to create those fans and keep them coming back for more at the Joan.
Other than the singing groundhog, what's getting the most pop right now? What are fans happiest with, or what are you happiest with?
Yeah, no doubt. I think that one's a big one. That one's actually sponsored this year, so big ups to our guys at Four Seasons Lawn Care for sponsoring that video. That's a big hit with our fans, and I think we did a really good job with kind of adding the white stripes in there, the song that kicks in when you get to that part. But that was really good. Obviously from my end, it's kind of crazy how you get a flyover. So there's a long process that you have to go through to get a flyover. So obviously we got military appreciation this weekend, right? So we got a C-130 coming in from the Air National Guard up in Charleston. But it's a process to get that thing. But we got it done. Captain Zerwitz and his boys are going to be down and doing that flyover for us. Obviously with the We Are Thankful game, it kind of ties in with the Derby tomorrow, right, too? So we got the anniversary of 9/11, right? So we're always thankful for those who have served, will serve, are serving, right? So we're just really thankful for our military, and I think that one's going to really hit in Game 2 here at the Joan, and we're excited to see kind of that entrance. So for my end, yeah, just seeing that entrance every time, man, and timing it up, and I kind of look like a coach up in the box. If you ever look at me up in the box, I'm probably got a headset on, and I'm probably yelling through the glass, but that entrance always looks great, man. So really positives from the first round, and then like I said, Game 2, we're just going to improve on it, take what fans are saying, and just improve.
All right, I'm curious now about the process. So give me the abbreviated version, unless you need to embellish a little bit more, or spell it out longer. What is the process to get a flyover, just in case I want one for my birthday next year or something like that?
Well, you got to go through the aerial events website, right? So you got to go through the U.S. Air Force. There's a form. There's a DD 2535, right, that you got to fill out, and it's got to have all the bells and whistles, from elevation to where your sight's at to what's going on, what time. Flyovers can't be too late, because if the sun goes down after twilight, they can't fly, right? So there's a lot of specifics that you got to get in, and then once you submit the form, you got to go back. You got to talk to the FAA. You got to talk to the flight office, right? There's a lot of parts to it. So yeah, a lot of behind the scenes when it comes to a flyover. I know a lot of people think, you just get a plane to fly over, just call them, see if they'll fly over. But yeah, a lot of military processes that you got to go. And easy for me. I come from a military family, right? So easy for me to go through the process and talk to those guys. And I know some of the boys up at the Air National Guard, so a little easier that I know some people, but yeah, still got to go through that form process.
All right, and we're not going to have anyone jump out of the plane and put the ball on the 50, right? Not yet.
Well, that's an extra step.
That's an extra form.
That's an extra form right there.
How excited are you with that revamped entrance? Because I was curious. You've got the new deck, and I'm sitting here thinking, all right, there was some pyro going on. How are you pulling that off? You got the fireworks. That's good. Was there any thought, okay, can we pull the pyro off the fire, or maybe let's just go more with fireworks here? What was the thought process there? Because I was wanting fire, but I understand why not.
Well, so funny enough, our guy Pyro Pete, he's great, man. We love Pyro Pete, and he does a really great job for us. So with that entrance, obviously we got the band out there, we got the video that rips, right? But Pyro Pete on the back end there with the fireworks, we will probably have fire stacks for Game 2. So there you go, Paul. I hope you're happy with the fire popping up. I think the sparks did the job, right? Still looked really good from our end, and still really hit for them running out. So we were really happy with it. But I think whether it's fire or the cold sparks, right? I think we're good on our end from that. We've just scooched it out a little bit. Like you said, the deck's looking really great. I think the signage on the deck looks really good, right? The Dutch Miller deck, the Shuey building on there, right? I think in the past when you said the Shuey building, some people didn't really know that was the Shuey building. So really good to have good branding on the outside of it, and then just have a great face, for those who want to experience that part of the Joan, right? It's a new spot and looks really great. So from our end, we've just kind of scooched that entrance just a little further out, but it still looks really good, man. Looks really good. I think fans really enjoy that part of it, and I take a lot of pride with our staff being able to produce that every week and making sure it goes off without a hitch.
All right, so breaking news, there will be fire at Joan C. Edwards Stadium on Saturday in front of the
There's your big drop.
building. Yep, I love it. I will say this, I don't want to say I snuck in, because the door was open. I just walked in yesterday after the presser, just walked in, and I'm not busting anybody, but I checked it out. For those who haven't been in there, it looks great inside the revamped area. So fans who haven't been able to take advantage of that just yet, once you do, it's really a fantastic area. I was in and out quick. I didn't want security to come after me, but it looked great. So I'm sure everybody's happy with that so far.
No doubt, yeah, a really, really cool place to watch a football game from. And yeah, I would encourage anybody that's if you're thinking about it or just hearing about it for the first time, right, I would encourage anybody to look at it and think of that as an option to come into the Joan and watch a game from.
Our guest is the Director of Marketing and Fan Engagement, Jarrod Hunley. Jarrod, anything else coming up that you maybe want to touch on that maybe we weren't thinking about or planning for? I mean, come on, the floor is yours. You get the final say.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we'll have our men's soccer team coming back next week, right? So they'll be back in the vet. You'll be able to see the boys back in Huntington from their long little road stretch. I think they got UC Santa Barbara and Coastal Carolina next week. So, obviously excited to see them back in town. There'll be a little fall ball action for baseball coming up. I'll probably put that out on socials here, maybe tomorrow, the next day. So just be on the lookout for that. But there should be a little baseball action, Jack Cook Field here soon as well. So really, we're always in full swing, Paul. So you can't miss it. I would say always check our socials, download the Herd Zone app, get your notifications, sign up for our emails if you haven't, right? There's a lot of information out there that you can get from us. We're always pumping stuff out.
Jarrod, good to talk to you as always, and hopefully we can do it again real soon.
No doubt. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Jarrod. That's Jarrod Hunley. He is the Director of Marketing and Fan Engagement at Marshall University. We're going to get our break in, and then we're going to take some of your texts, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, John Garden, 304-525-1116. And in Barbersville, Marcia Slater, 304-736-6100.
What if someone could tell you what pest control issues you are most likely to have at your house in the next couple of months? Basically, someone that has like a bug or rodent psychic. Wouldn't you want that same person to handle your pest control services now? That's what Patrick, Becca, and the whole team at K&B Pest Control can do. They can predict the future. And better yet, prevent it from happening at your house. Call them now. 304-523-4281. K&B Pest Control, they'll kill for your business.
Summer's winding down, your lawn's slowing up, and the leaves, they're already starting to drop. Robert's Lawn and Landscaping doesn't miss a beat. From final cuts to full fall cleanups, fresh mulch and winter prep, they've got your yard handled before the seasons change. Reliable, local, ready for what's next. Lock in your fall services now with Robert's Lawn and Landscaping. Visit robertslawn.com. Robert's Lawn and Landscaping, where every season starts strong, reliable, local, and ready for what's next.
Let's play Would You Rather Roosters Edition. Today's contestant is Bob. Bob, are you ready to play?
Let's do this.
Okay, Bob, would you rather eat slimy, overcooked wings at home or enjoy fresh, delicious, traditional, or boneless wings at Roosters?
Ooh, this is easy. I'll take Roosters.
Okay, next question. Would you rather watch football on 40 TVs at Roosters or on your one sad little TV at home? So sad.
I'll take Roosters.
Yeah, you will, Bob. Roosters, a fun casual joint.
It may be goodbye summer in Huntington, but it's hello deals here at University Ford. Tough F-250s, now up to $6,000 off. Escapes, up to $5,000 off for just $299 a month. Broncos, up to $4,000 off. Plus grab 1.9% financing and up to 125% of KBB for your trade. New ownership, improved process, better deals. Better deals. Visit us at University Ford in Huntington or online at universityfordwd.com. See dealer for complete details on all offers.
Think summer, think sunshine, lake days, beach trips, and all that sand, salt, and grime clinging to your car. That stuff doesn't just look bad, it can dull your paint, cause scratches, and even lead to rust. Protect your ride and keep it shining all summer long with a trip to Thoroughbred Express Auto Wash. Fast, easy, and built for real clean. Find a location near you by getting started at thoroughbredexpress.com. Join the winner's circle with Thoroughbred Express Wash, where your summer starts sparkling.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded
drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We're going to open up our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Got a lot of texts coming in. We're going to try to address all of them this break and next. Let's go to our text line first here. Texter says, Paul, I went to school at Morehead State University. Morehead does not like EKU either. Morehead students and faculty have a saying, friends don't let friends go to EKU. I like that. I like that a lot. Friends don't let friends go to EKU. I think that can be said as well for Ohio. I know a lot of Herd fans maybe have some disdain for Bobcats. Friendly rivalry, of course, but don't let your friends go to EKU or Ohio. I'm good with that. All right, 304-396-TALK is our text line. Texter says, Paul, I really like your attitude. I say thank you to that. Your game plan for this big EKU game. Yeah, here's my game plan for this. Win. If you want a little bit more depth, Saturday is going to be great for you because I'm going to be breaking it down a little bit more what the game plan's going to be. But obviously, I don't want to say this is a must-win situation. It's Game 3, Marshall's 0-2. And you're trying to avoid an 0-3 start before you get to Middle Tennessee and then conference play. You don't want to be 1-3 or 0-4 before you get to conference play. That's not how this is supposed to work. We thought 3-1 would be acceptable, so now we're hoping for 2-2. So I think what's going to have to happen here, the game plan is Marshall's going to have to take care of Marshall first, and that means the fundamentals, the little things. You got to put yourself in a position where you're not making mistakes. You can't allow big plays. And if you look at how Marshall has lost, defense has, for the most part, been fine. There have been some breakdowns. And so when you look at some of the big plays that the opponent has been able to reel off, my thought is that you want to contain the quarterback for EKU, Miles Burkett. He's a pocket guy. When we talked to Greg Stottlemyre yesterday, he said, hey, he's a pocket guy, but he's been forced to rush because he's been under pressure. And so, do you want to pressure him and try to contain him? Or do you want to limit his options and instead of letting him break free, maybe you short yardage gains here, contain him. It's going to be interesting to see how they go after him because if he's able to break and just run, we might see some big plays. I don't think he's going to look to run, but he's definitely a guy that has that capability. We'll see on Saturday. I think that's my key right there is make sure that you limit the big plays. I'll be okay with the small plays. Force them in third and long. Put them in situations where you know what the play is going to be. Take care of the fundamentals so you don't have broken plays, missed tackles, and allow them to break free and chew up yardage. Because if Marshall wants to win this game, you're going to have to play clean. That's it. I think that's the big strategy for me. Play clean, keep this quarterback contained, Don't let him get out. He's a pocket quarterback. Okay, make him beat you with his arm. Don't let him escape and try to make things happen, because we've seen Marshall give up some big plays. That's maybe a little oversimplification of the matter, but we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Here's an interesting one. Do you think that one of the other quarterbacks will get the start instead of Zion? That is a good question. It really depends on practice this week. That's what Coach always points to. What's going to be the factor? Is there going to be a battle for the quarterback position going into week 3, going into week 4, starting conference play? And Coach Gibson actually addressed that yesterday. That's something that we didn't get a chance to go to. He talked about how it's going to be a quarterback battle. It's not set yet, but they need to get that position set soon. So here's his thoughts on Zion and that quarterback position.
I thought, like any quarterback, any head coach could say, but he missed some throws. I know Zion would love to have that play back on 3rd and 1. But, again, we put him in that situation. We have to be better as a coaching staff and make sure that doesn't happen. But I thought he handled the game. I thought, managed the game really well. Was not careless with the ball, which was good. The last play of offense, we throw a pick, but he's trying to force one in with pressure in his face. And I think that a lot of people, until you study the film and watch, and, we have a D lineman slipping through, we have a linebacker blitz, whatever it may be, not everybody sees that gets Zion off his spot. But he'll learn and get better from it, and just like the other guys. And again, I say it every week, and it's going to be the guy that plays the best this week in practice is going to get the most snaps at quarterback. Is it going to be Zion? Is it going to be Ja'Kai? Is it going to be Carlos? I don't know right now. They've all mixed in with the ones today, and we have to be able to get set at that position in order for us to move forward. And, somebody has to take it over, and right now nobody has.
Game time decision. I think that's what Coach is alluding to. No one's taken over that position, so we'll find out on Saturday. We're going to get more of your text in, and we'll do that. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. When we continue on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year for March basketball. Frank's has you covered from the Sun Belt to the SEC, NBA to the MLB. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Now in stock, hard-to-get Chevrolet Traxxas, over 50 available. More coming, starting under $23,000. The Car Ferry says clear the lot, 2026 is on the way. GMC 2026 Terrains, 40 in stock, up to $1,800 off. Mark Porter Chevy GMC in Ashland, Kentucky and Pomeroy, Ohio has truck. Take up to $14,000 off. 2025 GMC Sierras. Offer includes $3,500 owner loyalty rebate. Must own 2011 or newer Buick or GMC. Come to Route 7 and Route 33, Pomeroy, Ohio, or Greenup Avenue, Ashland, Kentucky. Over 800 GM vehicles available. Car dreams do come true. Sale ends September 2nd, all rebates to dealer.
Next to you, next to me. Barbersville Fall Fest 2025, Wednesday, September 17th through Saturday the 20th, with carnival rides Wednesday through Saturday and the parade on Thursday. Friday night, September 19th, it's Straight On, a tribute to Heart. And then Saturday, September 20th, the village of Barbersville welcomes Shenandoah. Plus, arts and crafts, the car show, professional wrestling, and so much more. Fall Fest 2025 in the village of Barbersville, September 17th through the 20th.
Our Kendrick Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Holzer Health Systems, providing quality health care across southeastern Ohio and western West Virginia. Visit holzer.org. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, Killer Wings, Great Barbecue, and ice cold beer in Huntington and Milton. Visit WVBBQ.com. And Mark Porter Chrysler, Dodge Jeep Ram in Pomeroy, Ohio. Home of the Car Ferry. Online at markporterautogroup.com.
Hi, I'm Elise Smith, First Lady of Marshall University and founder of the Women Warrior Summit. As a woman of Appalachia, you know how much strength it takes to shift direction, especially when you're carving a new path forward. Maybe you've been thinking about changing careers, going back to school, or even refocusing your energy on something you once loved. I am so proud to announce that the Women Warrior Summit is back for its third year, where we'll be focusing on the power of pivoting and how to approach life's turning points with clarity, courage, and intention. We'll hear from journalist, author, and entertainer Hoda Kotb, explore Jenny Blake's coveted pivot method, and even talk about how AI can support our next steps, whatever they may be. Join us Friday, October 24th at the Marshall Health Network Arena. Visit womenwarriorsummit.com to learn more. I hope to see you there.
What is that thing on the two big red eyes and the wings?
Oh yeah, funky babies. Word is that the Mothman has been spotted getting his groove on at the Ritter Park Amphitheater. And did you know Funkafest has expanded to 2 days this year? That's right, Funkafest 9, The Funk Awakens, is October 3rd and 4th in Huntington, West by God, Virginia. 2 jam-packed interdimensional days of soul-shaking live music from Sneezy, Jocelyn and the Sweet Compression, the MFB, Jeremy Shore, Joey H, Massey, Chocolate Four-Wheeler, DJ Charlie Black, and more. Plus, visual art, live painting, fire and flow performers, craft beer, food trucks, funky yoga, disc golf, the kids' corner, and that late-night silent disco on Saturday. Big love to our funky friends, The Loud, Bad Shepherd Beer Company, Bonhoff, Basque Smokehouse, Luna Pizza, Marshall University Sustainability Department, The Good Time Show, Vandalia Digital, Kindred Communications and Kindred Digital, and Graphic Solutions. Kids 12 and under get in free. Tickets at funkafest.com.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's our final segment for today's edition of The Drive. Our text line is open. It's brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. We thank them and we bring it to you every day. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. In a few minutes, I'm going to make one of you a winner. Going to give you a pair of tickets to go see the Herd take on EKU on Saturday, and then I'm going to make a second one of you a winner. So, hey, 2 chances to win. And if you've texted in already, I'm going to put you in the drawing. If you'd like to be a part of today's show and have a shot at those tickets, still time to be a part of it at 304-396-TALK. That is our text line. We had some interesting texts. Let's see. I'm going to try to get them all as I can, as I think I can answer them. One texter asked me to tell Mr. Hunley to bring back lemonade. And actually, I was talking to him off air, and he said, we're working on that, and we do have the frozen lemonade stand, so we are looking to bring that back as a concession option. And there is a lemonade stand there, frozen lemonade. So you've got an option there, and they're looking to hopefully bring that back as an option as well. So hopefully that addresses your question. Let's see. Here's one. Asked me about Tony Mathis Jr., and they listen on the internet in Charleston. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that. And the question is if Tony Mathis Jr. is still on the team. Yes, he is. I checked, make sure that he's still on the roster, because I hadn't seen him either, and he's still there. So we'll keep an eye out for him on Saturday. I just think right now this team's still trying to find itself, and there's a lot of depth at that running back position. You look at the deep, and the 2 deep, it's sort of like the suggestion. It's unofficial. It's not anything close to what we might see. And there's already 4 guys on the 2 deep at the running back position. And so are we going to see a 5th, 6th? I don't know. I think Jashawn Barbie has really acquitted himself well. You know, we'll definitely see more of Turner. We'll probably see some of Antoine Roberts as well. Mike Allen's in that mix. So I think when it comes to getting on the field, as these guys have told me time and time again, you know, if they're if they're practicing well, they're going to be playing. Or if they're working hard, they got to keep working to crack that lineup. Basically, the very best generic answer I can give you, because nothing's come out, so I don't have any extra information other than, hey, there's a lot of guys that haven't made the field yet. So I know that probably doesn't answer your question, but we're going to keep an eye out for him. So we'll circle Tony Mathis Jr. If we see him on the field Saturday, we'll definitely make note of it. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Let's see if I've got everything else, if I've missed anything on our text line. I think I've got all of your immediate questions answered. Tomorrow, we're going to preview on the show. We got the women's game against WVU. And so we're going to preview that a little bit more. The Mountain State Derby is back. And Bobby Iddings is going to join us. He's been calling the games for ESPN Plus all season long. So he's going to give us another preview of that, sort of a game time preview for those of you heading to the Vet tomorrow to watch that game. Should be a fun one. Atmosphere is going to be great. Marshall, WVU, Mountain State Derby. Thundering Herd's been looking pretty good so far on the pitch. And let's hope that the Herd can continue that with a win against WVU. That'd be their first win in the series if it happens. Also, college men's soccer on Tuesday. Number 10 Marshall, number 12 High Point play to a 2-all tie in North Carolina. So the Herd didn't lose. But again, in soccer, they didn't win as well. So it's a tie. Marshall back home Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, playing host to Cal Santa Barbara. I don't know if I'm concerned just yet because, again, it's soccer and anything can happen. You can dominate the entire game, and you can still play to a 2-2 tie, or you can play to a draw. That's what we've got right now for the Marshall men's soccer team. Hopefully the Herd can start stacking some wins, and when it gets to conference play, let's get wins instead of ties. I think that is what we're looking for here. I think that's it. We're done, and I've got like 20, 30, 40 seconds extra before we have to say goodbye. Don't forget, we've got football coming up tomorrow. NFL action. Washington, Green Bay, Thursday night football right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Tonight, we've got game 2 of the Pirates series with the Orioles. That takes place coming up at, believe it or not, we'll go on the air at 6:10. And then tomorrow at 12:40 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. The Reds got the better of the Padres 4-2 yesterday. Final game of that series coming up tonight at 8:40. And the Guardians got the better of the Royals 2-0. Game 3 tonight, 6:40 in Cleveland. And that makes it official. Well, we are done. Thanks for being a part of it. I want to thank my guest. It's always a pleasure to welcome back Jarrod Hunley. He's the Director of Marketing and Fan Engagement at Marshall University. So we'll have him back real soon. Busy weekend starting tomorrow. Women's soccer, Mountain State Derby. And then on Saturday, of course, it's Marshall and EKU. This is EKU Hate Week. I'm making that a thing. For those of you that know, you were back in the day with me, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you that are jumping on board this freight train, we're going to make it fun. Thanks for being a part of it today here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.